Hello world. More Burger King indeed. Alright. I can hear myself, so that's good. I hear myself on YouTube. Let's do a quick audio check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Alright, that's sounding good on YouTube. I'm going to quickly check Twitch. How's everybody doing? Thanks for joining for another session of Let's Model a Speakerbox Drive-Thru menu thing. Alright, sounds good on Twitch as well. I'm happy with that. Let's bring on the show. Alright. Alright, hello and welcome to another session of B3D and Chill. We are joined today by none other than me, and I'll be working away at this piece again. I don't have my camera set up. Last time I got questions as to why I wasn't showing face and why I don't have face cam set up, and honestly, it makes it so much more approachable for me to not do that at the moment. So I'm happy with just streaming faceless for the time being. I'm going to quickly take the moment to share that I'm doing this on Twitter as well, and then we'll get started. In the meantime, if you want to drop a hello in the chat to let me know you're here, or something like that, please do. I think I'm going to be live streaming for about an hour or so, just as the other ones have run on for about that long, and I really enjoy it. I think that this is a really fun way of sharing progress, as well as just keeping myself accountable for continuing to work on these projects, to practice some public speaking, and also this allows me to take the assets, so that is the recorded versions of these videos, and then trim them down a bit and use them for other stuff in the future. So as I do this, I'll get some practice in that. I'm realizing right now as I'm saying all this that unfortunately I did not set up screencast keys yet again, but let's just do that now because I think it'll be worth it and that it will pay off in the end. I see Eckhart Troll saying hello in the Twitch chat. Thanks for joining, and saying that volume is pretty quiet on YouTube. I can fix that by bumping up my input volume a little bit, so I'll do that. Hopefully it's not too bad. So let's see. Alright, screencast keys. So where we left off last time, I had downloaded them, or downloaded the add-on, but I hadn't installed it, and I don't know why it wasn't working. So let's just go through the installation process as we normally would for any Blender add-on. You won't be able to see this on your screen because I have set it up to keep you from seeing that, but that's fine. Let me find screencast keys here. Okay, install add-on. It says that it's been installed, but I don't see it. So keys maybe? Nope. Cast? Nope. Still not seeing it. Okay. Funky. There might be some installation instructions that I'm missing. Let me quickly check on the internet or on stream. Cool. We got 2 watching and 1 watching. Fun. This might take us a little bit, and excuse my voice if it's a bit raspy. I'm not really allergic to anything, but I am very sensitive to dust, and the dead cat on the microphone that I'm using, well, it's just very dusty, so it immediately gets me congested. Let's see what's up with these screencast keys. I'll drop a link in the YouTube chat if you're watching on YouTube, and I'll also drop it on the Twitch chat for screencast keys in case you are curious about this add-on. So let's see. Installation process is a bit confusing. I see it on the GitHub repository here. All right, let's see how to install. There's an installation tool. Okay, interesting. Download the zip archive from the links. Install the add-on. Okay. Okay, this doesn't seem too tricky. This is pretty much what I've done. But let's just see if maybe I missed a step or something. So I'm re-downloading, and I'm gonna drop it in my Blender folder on my hard drive inside the add-ons folder, where I keep all my add-ons, just because organization is key, especially when you're working on multiple projects at a time. Now we're going to go back into Blender and go into Preferences, Add-ons, Install. We'll pull up this new download of screencast keys and install the add-on. It says that it's installed. Oh, perfect. And it looks like, is it working? Shift A. No, it's not working. All right, we're going to quickly restart Blender. And I promise we'll be on their way soon. Hey, Andromeda, thanks for joining. What's up? We'll be on their way soon. I think Streamlabs here has chosen the wrong Blender screen. So let's fix that. Set it to, where is it? Is it this one? Yep. Thanks for hanging out. I think we've got screencast keys set up now. Cube. No, why are they not showing up? I know that Ian Hubert has trouble with this sometimes, and others too. What the heck? Update maybe? Or refresh? Not really sure why they're not working. Maybe somebody will know. It looks like I'm on the last update for screencast keys. Overlay, is that it? No. Okay, well, I'll just dictate. It's fine. Let's just get this going. Don't wanna drag on for too long over here. Trying to get this set up. I have to enable them. Andromeda says, just wanted to say hi. Yes, hello. Thanks for dropping in and saying hi. Okay, installation process. Unzip, check the add-on sources. Copy add-on sources into your add-on folder, enable add-on. Then you can use. Okay, this doesn't make sense though. Why is there a Blender installation and a manual install? Oh, I see. I can't install an unstable version. What's the last version? 3.5. That's stable. Yeah, I'm just going to go without. Oh, N to open the menus, and you should see screencast key, says Echotroll. Cool, cool. In the Twitch chat. N, screencast keys. Oh, amazing. And now what? Set origin. Here. And then, no. Align display time. Show mouse events. Show last operator. This is not doing what I think it's doing. Oh. Oh, there it is. Amazing. Jeez, that only took all of forever. Great, so now we've got screencast keys going. Thanks, Eckhart Troll, for saving the day once again. That only took a long time. All right, so let's, for the sake of the show, let's restart. All right, thanks for joining us for another episode of B3D and Chill. This is a series that I started as a way of just hanging out with some friends with the internet and by myself sometimes while working away at different Blender projects or musings. Where we last left off, we'd created this Drive-Thru menu speakerbox thing that actually came from a photo that I took on a walk. Now, this video is not sponsored by this restaurant, and I actually don't eat there. But as soon as I saw it, I knew that this would be fairly simple to model, and so I wanted to take the opportunity to try doing that. And as I was working on it, I realized that this would be something that might be just interesting for people to watch. I know I like to watch people sculpt in Blender, do like speed sculpts or just streams, and so I figured, hey, why not? And now we're here. So we've modeled away at this in the previous 2 episodes, which if you're watching on Twitch, you can find on Twitch, and if you're watching on Facebook, you can also see them there. And where we last left off, I wanted to see about animating this nuggets sign, because while I won't pull up the image here, but you can go back and see on the other stream, this nuggets sort of just sign blinks, and so I want to animate that. I think that's fairly simple, and then I want to work away at making these different bits and pieces of this menu sign look a bit more realistic and lived in or used in some ways. Like you can see this sort of texture on this pole and these dents here. And while I'm not fully sure how to do all of those, and these cables as well, I might as well just stream it while I try, because why not? It's 2021, baby. So we'll hide this reference. We've got this nice little backdrop here, which is what I've been using for the thumbnails, and I've been in doing those in cycles. So if you were curious as to how we got there, maybe you're not familiar with Blender, or you're just learning how to use Blender, or you just were curious as to whether they were done in Photoshop or something similar. Nope. I'm trying to keep it all in Blender for the most part. The thumbnails themselves, though, and the text, I did put that together in Photoshop, and I could show you if you're interested how I did that, but maybe later or in another stream. I need to figure out how to set it up such that I can view the chat on the stream as well as have Blender open full screen, because that would be nice. But if I miss your comments, I apologize, and I'll get to them. So I'll just start working away at these things. I want to pick apart these edges here and bevel them a bit. I'll do the back ones too, because you never know when we'll want to look at the back of this. And I think the best way to keep us illuminated here would be maybe to I don't know, what are we doing here? Scene lights? No, that won't do it. We'll just go into solid mode. That's fine. We have an idea of what it looks like. So I'll take all of these and hit Control B, which you can see at the bottom with screencast keys, and immediately I'm realizing that it's not going to work the way I want it to, because it's just kind of not pulling away at the top. So I'll have to select those edges too. And I often forget what this shortcut is, but while chatting with some of the crew at Blender Nest, which is a podcast that I'm a part of, I've been told that everybody forgets this darn shortcut. But it's fine if we can just select the edges one by one. It's definitely not Control, is it? Nope. Yeah, it's not selecting all of them. There we go. That's what it. So I'm doing Control Shift. You can probably see it here at the bottom. Let me just quickly make that font size just a little bit bigger. Let's match the font size to the mouse size, just so that you can see the screen keys. There we go. Sweet. This will be great, because that way I don't have to spend so much time telling you what I'm doing. I can just show you, and if you're curious about what the keys are, well, you can just look at them yourself. And I've just undone everything, so I'm going to Control Z all the way back. There we go. Make sure we're in edge selection. I think this makes sense. No, that's not really doing what I want. So we'll go ahead and try something different, which I'm not too crazy about, but it might work. Let's add a bevel modifier. And let's see what this will look like. Interesting. Oh, hey. Marco is in the chat. Thanks for joining, Marco. Oh, look, everyone's telling me what the keyboard shortcuts that I'm looking for are. That's amazing. Appreciate you all. Alt-Shift, left-click. Perfect. Yeah, this is why I need the chat up somewhere I can see it. Sui Animaciones on YouTube. Hello. Thank you for dropping in and saying hello. Great. Yeah, so we'll just go back to this here. Download shortcuts. Download shortcuts. What does that mean? Can't download shortcuts, can I? With offset. So I'm sure that this is where knowing what all of these different parameters in the bevel modifier do would be helpful. I've also realized, and I think somebody pointed this out to me previously, but it was in a different version of this project, that I hadn't set the scale to everything. So I'm going to quickly do that now at risk of making all the lights go crazy. And we'll just go back and check. That looks all right. I'm happy with that. All right, Andromeda Lady on Twitch says, look up download shortcuts. All right, let's look it up. Download shortcuts, Blender hotkeys. Oh, yeah, this is great. I'm going to paste this in the chat on both Twitter and, on both Twitch and YouTube. And I'm going to quickly say hello to Sui Animaciones, who's joining us. Hello, thanks for joining. Glad you're here. So that's that add-on. All right. Well, you know what? Let's skip that beveling for now and focus on this, because this is kind of been a promised nugget, no pun intended, of gold that I haven't delivered on just yet. And while I'm not fully sure that this is the best way to do what I'm about to do, I'm pretty confident that it's a really simple way of doing it. And that is, let's get rid of the screen. That is animating this to blink on and off, on and off. Let's drag this out a little bit. Oh, I guess we can't. It's fine. So currently, if we go to rendered view, we'll notice that this nuggets sign is fully emissive. That means that it's actually casting some light, or emitting some light. If we turn this emission value to 0, it goes dark. And while we don't want it to go fully dark, we do want to give it the appearance of blinking on and off, on and off. And so to do that, we can go to the beginning here of our timeline, and with the I am blanking on this face, this plane selected, we'll hit I, and what? No, that's not what we want. We'll click on the 1 for emissions, and then here hit I. What? Is that not how that works? Insert keyframe. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll go a bit further out, a couple frames later, and hit 0.1. And then we'll insert another keyframe. For some reason, I'm not sure why that's not working, and why I'm not seeing those. But I'm sure we'll find out. And that's what the stream's all about. It's just to watch me suffer. Are you about to dip your toes in? Says Eckhart Troll. Yes, I'm about to dip my toes in. I've been dipping my toes in, and this is where things get a little tricky. Doing things that you have either done a couple of times or just aren't really sure how to accomplish, but that's fine. I know that Decoded VFX, who's on Blender Nest as well, and another Blender educator, mentioned that I should go about this by making setting the first keyframe and the second keyframe, and then making the animation cyclic, so I don't have to set a bunch of keyframes. But right now I'm not seeing a single one of those keyframes, so maybe that's in the dope sheet for the emission. Oh, there we go. I just had to click on it. Perfect. All right, so now we're here. It's dimming quite a bit, and I'm not really sure how I feel about that dim or the duration of the dim, so I'm just gonna hit G to grab. I think I've lost my screencast keys here, but I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I'm hitting G to grab and then scrolling or dragging this keyframe left for the purpose of seeing whether this on-off duration makes more sense or is closer to the actual physical world representation of this 3D model. So now I'm right clicking and I am looking for the cyclic or for the way to make these cyclic. And I remember reading about animations and animation nodes and I'm now getting pinged on Discord. Marco is letting me know that I'm also streaming at the same time as a dear friend of ours, C. Bailey Film. So if you happen to be watching on Twitch and you haven't seen C. Bailey Films, I strongly recommend you check him out as well. I did not know that he was streaming right now. And he's modeling a space station live. So maybe in the future I won't stream at the same time as he is. But, well, now I know. Alright, so let's go about making this animation cyclic here. Cyclic animations in Blender. Keyframes. Cyclic F modifier. Graph editor. Select the keyframes to loop over. Press Shift E. That's what it is. Shift E. Everything is just a Google away, honestly. There we go. Shift E. Make cyclic. And now, I believe, if we go back here to the layout, and we'll just pull up the timeline so you can see it. Bring up the timeline editor here, and press play. They're not cyclic at all. Okay, let's see what happened. So, shader node tree. I wonder why that didn't work. Make cyclic F modifier. Shift space to start. Huh. I mean, one really cheap way of doing this, but I don't recommend this, just copying and pasting them over and over again. But yeah, let's not do that. Let's try to figure out how to accomplish this in the cleanest and best way possible. So if you look up cyclic animations or continuously looping animation on Google, first thing you'll see is the result that I'm looking at. In fact, why don't I just bring you with me to that screen? We'll quickly go to Chrome. Wrong screen here. This is amateur hour. I brought this, so you didn't really miss much. I went back to Blender, copied and pasted some animations, some keyframes, and nothing happened. I selected all of them, the duration of them, Shift E, which brings us to our keyframe extrapolation menu, and I tried to make them cyclic, but it's not working. You can I know that it's not working because I played it back. You couldn't watch it because I forgot to switch screens, but I played it back by hitting Shift Space, and yeah, it doesn't really do the thing the way we want it to. One quick cop out would be to grab this, bring it over, and then I think at this point it will start to it'll start to look cyclical, but it won't be because it's made cyclic. It'll just be because I've copied and pasted it several times. So yeah, I'm concerned about that, but I don't want to spend too much time trying to figure that out at the moment because it could get pretty boring. So instead, what we'll do is something that was also brought up in the previous stream was whether this was going to end up placed in a scene, and I think that's something that we can very easily do, and we can start to sketch out what that scene might look like, or we could bring in some scans, and I just happen to have so many scans of different things that I've had the opportunity to scan with my phone, and I don't actually let's see, which one should we use here? Well, I'm gonna send one of these scans that I've taken on Polycam, which is an app that I've been using for a while now to take scans of different surroundings, and I'll bring it into Blender and place this in the foreground, place this Drive-Thru box in the foreground. But first I want to make sure that I'm choosing a scan that will fit the scene, and I think I have one in mind. I just don't know where it is. Well, here's one, and this might work, might not work. But let's just try it. January 21st. Actually, let's play Russian roulette. And by that I mean, let's bring in several random scans into Blender. Extract all. Yep. And see what they are. This could either be the best thing that's happened or the worst thing that's happened. Oh, okay, cool. I'm pretty excited about this one. So I'll bring this scan in real quick. Let's go to File, Import, Object. I'll go to the download location of the scan, which I believe ended up being, was it the desktop? Where'd we go? Here we go. And crop textured object. Cool. And now this might show up too big or too small. Great. So I'm going to hit Control S to save. That's my reminder to save, your reminder to drink water, and also mine. There we go. And what I brought here is none other than Eckhart Troll's electrical box. So this here is a scan of an electrical box that Ellie, aka Eckhart Troll, was commissioned to paint by Boston City Council, I believe. Let's set the origin to the geometry so that when we turn it, it turns on its own axes, not on something else. And we can make this a part of our scene somewhere. While I try to find a different scan for the background, I know that I took this massive scan of a couple of buildings, and I want to bring it in, but I don't Unfortunately, I didn't label it properly, so it's lost. But if I go quickly into Polycam on my iPad, which is where I think I scanned it on, and just quickly have a look. Let's see. I've got a couple here. No, surprisingly it wasn't here. But this is, if anything, it's a testament to the greatness of Polycam, because I have so many scans to go through. And if you can, if you're still with us, the fidelity of the scan's not that bad. It's very, it's got like a lot of geometry, which isn't great if we're going to render a whole scene out with it, or if we're trying to render some animations. But yeah, for what we're doing here, I think this is a pretty great addition. So let's, I'm just checking quickly on the chat. Everything seems to be in its right place. I think I found the scan that I'm looking for. I'm just waiting for it to load on my phone. This is not it, but it's a good one. And I wish I could cast what I'm seeing so that you could see it too. But let's see. I've got a. If you're curious about the sort of scans that I'm talking about, I guess now would be a good time to plug my Sketchfab. So if you go on sketchfab.com and you look up my name while I'm doing this, you'll find many, many scans that I've taken around Boston and Cambridge, Massachusetts, and other places that all I've made available on Sketchfab for people to play with and download and see. Okay. So I'm hard pressed to find that scan of the city, but I did find one that I took about 2 or 3 days ago, just outside my apartment. And so we'll bring that one in too. I'm sending it to myself right now on Google Drive, and then we'll download it here. And in the meantime, we'll clean up this scan of Ellie's electrical box just for a bit. So while I would be interested in keeping this ground, I don't think it's going to fit into our scene too much. So one quick way to do this would be to do a box selection. So we can hit B to go into box selection mode and then draw a box, if you can believe it, around this electrical box. And so now that hasn't done what I expected it to do, because I didn't have X-ray mode on. So we selected the box around just the things that I could see. But if we go back into top view here now with X-ray selection on, we'll draw a box around this and miss a little bit of it. So let's turn it just a teeny bit. Here we go. This looks good. I'm gonna let it go. Old Frozen style. Control I to invert the selection, X to delete, and then we're gonna delete the faces in this case. And that gives us these jagged edges, which are no good. As Ellie says in their latest video, which you can see on their channel. If you're watching on YouTube, they're also watching the stream, and so you can find them through there, or just simply by looking up Ellie McQueen Blender on YouTube. I highly recommend, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I made the music for the video. It's a great video. You should watch it. So I'm just going to paint this out, and the reason I'm not doing anything funky to make the selection is just because I need the therapy here of just painting this out by hand. But one other thing you could do is, in order to do this, is using lasso selection here. And I think this might be a better way of going about it. I'm getting quiet as if something's gonna break, but it just requires so much concentration, you know. Oh, and if you don't hit shift while you're doing that, you'll lose your previous selection. So let's try that again. Our neighbors have a dog named Archie, and Archie likes to bark, as most dogs tend to. But every time Archie barks, their owner goes, "Archie, no!" And so whenever any dog barks in the building, I just think, "Archie, no!" That's a bit about my building. What about yours? All right, yeah, so we're making this selection. It's looking all right. We don't have to get too detailed with this. I don't think anyone's going to be pixel peeping this. I know I definitely am not. And this is the sort of thing where if you've got a sturdy computer that can handle it, it doesn't matter so much, but it's still good practice to make sure that, you know, your things can open in other people's computers, because that's important. So we're gonna X to delete faces. We've got some straight ones here. That's fine. I'll get rid of you too. Delete faces. Yep. And you know, this one's here. It's not gonna bother anybody, but it's definitely gonna bother me because I saw it and I know it's there. So we'll get rid of it. Cool. So now we've got this box, and if we really want to make it blend in immediately to the scene, we'll add a cube. What am I saying? A plane, and then extend it by scaling it. And let's just be sure we're on the floor. Oh, that didn't do what I expected it to. So how are we gonna? Is that a joke? That's fine. That's good enough. Bring this in here, plop it down. There we go. See, now we got rid of those annoying edges and it looks like it's fit into the ground to some degree. We can click on this, and I'm gonna save it real quick because what I'm about to do might be dangerous. We'll use where are ya? Decimate. There we go. And we can unsubdivide it. It's got 61,000 faces right now, or just about. And we'll start to bring it down quite a bit. Whip it into shape, you know. My Twitter is popping. Cool. Yeah, if you slide this iterations on this decimate modifier, I don't recommend that you do that because it will mess your life up, man. It will just crash Blender for sure. And I'm not really seeing any changes in this in terms of the mesh or anything, so I wonder if I have to apply it. If I apply it, what's the worst that could happen? Let's apply it. Apply. Look at the mesh. Still a mess. So I don't know what all just happened there, but seems like a whole lot of nothing. I'm going to quickly check on the chat. No one's saying anything on YouTube. In fact, nobody's watching on YouTube. That's fine. And what do we got? Twitch is doing all right. Cool. So now that we've got the scan transferred for the scene that I wanted to include here, I'll download it real quick. And I'll quickly unzip it or extract it. Great. And now I'll bring it into the scene. As by file, import, obj, navigate to where it lives on my computer, and summon it into Blender. And this is nothing more but a trash bin. That's right, it's a recycling bin from outside the apartment. And it's not a bad scan, honestly, for the quick walk around. I think it took me all of, oh, and I should have actually just picked up the other one too while I was at it. But yeah, I walked around it for maybe all of 10 seconds and was able to get that amount of detail in this scan. So I'll do the same thing that we did for the other one. Just to keep things clean, I will drag it away from our current scene. I'll save it just in case something goes wrong. Press number pad period or dot or full stop, depending on where you're from, to zoom us in. Set origin to geometry. R to rotate it. We'll set it something like this so that we can hit tab to go into edit mode. Make sure we've got X-ray on. We do. We'll unselect everything by hitting Alt A, and we'll do the same thing that we did for the previous cube, except this time I'm in lasso mode apparently, which is not as great for this. So we can do let's just do select box just to get us started. And I screwed that one up. Let's try it again. There we go. Very nice. So now we've got most of this selected, if not all of it. Let's see. Yep, all of it. Control I again to inverse the selection. X to delete, and we'll delete the faces in this case. Bam. And now we've got this trash bin, and it looks alright. Maybe we want to set the normals to auto smooth. Looks like they already are set to auto smooth. That's perfect. And then we can do some of the cleanup process now, even though technically doesn't need it. Like, we can easily fake this ground by sort of shoving this model down a bit. But I don't recommend that, because if you do the job once, you probably don't need to do it again. So if we just take the time to select all of these pieces right now, I can with more ease isolate this model and bring it into some other creation later without having to worry about doing it. Then we have a saying in Spanish for this, el flojo trabaja doble, which means the lazy person does the job twice or something similar. And firm believer in that. If you kind of cop out the first time around, you're probably going to have to end up doing it again. And you'll just be kicking yourself in the butt because, you know, could have done it right the first time. One of the things I love about Polycam 2 is that it just makes it so easy to take these scans and make something workable out of them. You can use them as reference, or you can actually use them as an object. Depends on what the look that you're going for. But I'll show you what I mean in a moment once I finish with this. I just want to really quickly grab these last bits that we can probably see. We can deal with these. Yep. Perfect. X to delete those faces, and they're gone. Actually, let's try something new. Let's see, X to delete and then dissolve faces. Where's that? Dissolve faces. Nope. That won't work. I see. So that tries to merge the faces, but that's not what we want. X delete. What happens if we delete? Let's just delete the faces. YOLO, you know? Can't YOLO your way through a stream. Yeah? Watch me. Great, so we've got these strays here. Get rid of them. Cool, now we've got this bin, and we can set it up somewhere in our scene where it makes sense for it to live. Namely, you know, maybe here or something. Bring this down. And does it look like this bin would be about the same size as this? Maybe. Let's blow it up just a teeny bit. Can set it here in the background. And if we set up a different camera, or we can just use this one, and maybe bring it down just a bit here. I mean, it's starting to look like it belongs in the scene. I'm trying to see how we can get this here as well, but it seems like just in this current camera view, it's not going to work out for what we're trying to do. Maybe we can rotate it, scale it down just a bit to hide the to hide this glitching here. And by glitching, I just mean that the texture didn't work out all that well just for this symbol, which is probably for the best. You probably don't want to advertise that. One of the cool things that you can do with polycam scans, let me just quickly check on the chat. Oh, hey, Marco's here. Sorry, had you on mute. Is that a LiDAR scan? Yes, it is a LiDAR scan. Press C for select tool. Yes, middle mouse to deselect. Yep. Thanks, Marco. I hadn't checked the chat, but yes, it is a LiDAR scan. And what we're doing with it now is, where am I? Yeah, we're just trying to place it in the scene. But what I was saying in relation to LiDAR scans is one of the cool things about them is that it doesn't have to end in the scanning, right? Like all of this, like it looks okay from a distance, right? I guess the trained eye would be able to tell maybe that something's wrong here. There's some warping that we don't like, but one thing that you can do is you can use the sculpting tools in Blender. Let me first select the scan and just focus on it. But you can use the focus tools in Blender to fix that up. So now I can grab something like the flatten tool here within the sculpt workspace and clean this up a bit. So now, you know, all this dodgy looking front face here begins to take some shape. That's not a very obvious LiDAR scan shape or photogrammetry shape. And if we go into rendered mode, we won't see anything because it's dark in this scene, but you know, starts to look a little bit more like what it's supposed to look like. All right, so far so good. We've got this trash bin and an electrical box. I'm going to leave this camera here because this is the thumbnail camera. So actually, let's name this thumbnail cam. And I'll add another light, Shift A, another camera, add camera. Great, we've got one. Circle, what am I saying? We will select that camera with 0 in the number pad. And that won't work for some annoying reason. So we'll hit N. I'll go to my photographer add-on. This is another add-on that I love as a photographer. Obviously, it makes setting up scenes as I would with, you know, real cameras a breeze. So it's good fun. We'll leave this here. I think that looks okay. It's a good scope for what this scene could be, I think. And yeah, we'll just scale this plane a bit and move it along. Move it along, kids. Let's not move it anymore on the Z plane or Z plane. Stretch it. That feels good. It's kind of like a street of some sort, maybe. We've got a drive-through. Well, if you have a drive-through, you gotta have a building too, right? Because the food has to be made somewhere. So maybe we'll prop that up back here. Whoops. And yeah. I wish there was a way for me to see, actually, if I add a solidify modifier here, will I be able to see it? Perfect. Ask and ye shall receive. Hey. So if we look at the original, and by the original I just mean the photo I took, we've got some incline here. So this is up on a, I don't know what you would call this, but it's up on a curb, I guess, with some mulch, and there's some, you know, pavement here. I remember that around this area there was actually a trash bin, so that's kind of accurate. and I believe it was VFX Legends on the previous stream who was asking whether or not I was going to make this scene look exactly as it did here. While that's still not currently my plan, it's definitely not a bad idea to use it as inspiration for what will be the finished version of this scene. So let's do that. Let's hide this again, make sure we can't select it so it doesn't move from where it is. And let's check on that backdrop. Yep, just as I thought, it's in the way. Cool. So let's quickly check for here. One thing that's really useful when you're in solid mode or when you're modeling is to set up random colors so that you can distinguish what different objects are. So I'm going to do that here. I think it's kind of bugging me that this is not as even as the trash can now, so I'm going to fix that, or the trash bin. And you don't have to be too perfect about this, especially if it's going to be something that's in the background. And I am using my mouse at the moment. I don't recommend that for sculpting. I really don't think anyone does, because it's just not very comfortable. It's not very ergonomic. And I think, well, I'm pretty sure in the long term, you can do some damage to your tendons and whatnot. But I don't have my Wacom set up, and I just don't want to bother plugging it in. This will do for now. So we lost a bit of detail here on this edge, which is fine because we can use something like crease, which is one of these. It's been a minute since I've sculpted in Blender because I've been using Nomad Sculpt on the iPad, which is awesome, and I think it's only $15 or something like that. We can also use Draw Sharp to do this, but similarly to Polycam, I think it's one of those tools that, like, you know, if you're doing the sort of stuff I'm doing, you can't live without. And the sort of stuff I'm doing is this: Blender, playing around with things, sculpting, and living my best life. Cool, so I'm happy with that. Don't need to spend too much time on it. It looks hella warped. That's okay. Alright, so we know that I know that the default cube is about 2 meters high. That's a little bit over 6 feet, which is exactly the height of a very tall person. So this building's got to be a bit higher than that, don't you think? Let's bring it up just a bit. In fact, we don't even have to think or make that value judgment ourselves. We can just look at the reference. That's what it's there for, dummy. Let's see. Yep, so it looks to be quite a bit taller than that. We'll just leave it here. We can even set up the roof of the building. And I guess in this case, this is like a very small restaurant, maybe. And we're still in this damn lasso selection mode, which is not what we want. Here, there we go. We selected everything. Alt E, extrude faces along normals. This gives us. Oh, let's undo that because I think I've just duplicated it by accident. Marco says, I'll leave the stream running, but I'm out of here. Thanks, Marco, for jumping in. Appreciate it. Didn't even think about the sculpt tool to flatten it out. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Saves the day. Extrude faces along normals. We'll get that sort of roof shape. I'm happy with that. Not too bad. And we're starting to get this restaurant going. So if anybody is still in the chat, either on YouTube or on Twitch, I'm curious to know what sort of food you think this restaurant should serve, and maybe we can push things in that direction. We'll just stretch it out, make it make sense, you know, make it make sense. And this is starting to look pretty damn good. We can Shift D to duplicate this floor and then scale it way down and try to bring it to about here, the level of the restaurant itself. I'm going to hide that reference image again, because if you notice in the reference, which I just hid, the floor does jut out a little bit from the restaurant. Here, let's scale it. Let's go on top view real quick and maybe go to solid so we can see what we're doing with more detail, and align this with the restaurant. So if you would imagine that somebody is actually driving through in this direction, and then exiting out this way with the trash can in the way, this makes sense. And to some degree, depending on what you're going for, you want things to make sense. I'm going to quickly check to make sure I'm not missing. Hey, what's up, Andromeda? Welcome back. So the question that I just posed to the chat, to the world, to the ether, was if we are going to make a restaurant, like what should that restaurant be serving? I think that's a good question. And rather than bring this down, we'll just add another base to it too. I think we can get really creative later on with this flooring and whatnot by using grass walled to add some mulch, some grass, stuff like that. And I'll quickly add, what do we want to do here? I think I want to maybe take this, select this top face, and inset it some. Yeah, and then we can maybe not. Maybe we'll select everything but extrude it up. And we'll grab our boxes. Select objects. Are we doing this right? No. Oh, because we're in edit mode. So we'll grab our boxes. And there's stuff in there. So I guess now is a good time to start cleaning this up, huh? Reina pepiada arepas. Yes, that's true. But you'd have to change the menu or do a wide shot. Yeah. Eckhart Troll is suggesting we make this restaurant serve arepas, and I am so down for that. We can even find a different menu or just make our own menu on a different stream, and oh yeah, I'm so happy about that, and now I'm really hungry. Oh, what a great suggestion. So we'll start to, let's see, I'm going to toggle through these, make sure that everything is looks right. And we'll call this speaker box. We'll call this nuggets backing. We'll call this nuggets sign. We'll call this nuggets sign. And I think we can merge these two. Why not? Actually, no, let's not, so that if I make this, or when I make this file available for people, you can just swap out this nuggets sign for your own thing. So I'll just leave that as it is, and we'll make this nuggets sign backing. It's a bit confusing. I'll probably revisit it later, but let's just push on through. All right, so we've got, see, poll. Oh man, is this what my life has come to, just naming stuff right now? Let's do it. Bottom, or support bottom. I'll probably end up merging this one at least into one thing, but you know what, for now let's just do, why is this key repeat so intense? Let's just be good about this. Support middle. What? Okay. Maybe this is a sign that I need to do this later. I'll save it real quick just in case my computer's being obnoxious. Check on the chat. No one said ish. That's fine. Really what I wanted to do with that whole checking was to make sure that everything is in the groups where we expect it to be, because oftentimes if you're working, especially if you're working like at speed for no good reason. See, so this one is meant to be in here, which is the box center. If I select all these objects, you'll see now that I've moved that all the things that are in that point are getting selected. What is this? It's the world origin. Gone. So what are we trying to do here? Oh yeah, we just move this and we want to, I'm trying to see what that crack is here. We want to name this screen. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this makes sense. Nuggets screen. Nuggets sign. Nuggets backing. Yeah, happy with that. Box right. Okay, so we don't want, and this light makes sense, I guess. Light. Right, so we don't need this here. This will actually pull it out. Grab this. This one's in there too. We don't need it there. Pull it out. This is the floor. We don't need that there. It's the other floor. We don't need that there. This light we do want. Cylinder. That's the base for the box on the left. This is the whole building itself. We don't want that there. What's a cylinder? This is box right. Is something else. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Base. Sign. So these are the sort of things I guess that I can't merge because, you know, like this sign, part of what's nice about this, or the way that it's currently set up, is if I were to, here, let me quickly save. If I were to grab this with G and pull it out, you can just, you know, just pull it out. And why would you want to do that? I don't know, but it's nice that you can. And if you want to replace the sign itself, it's its own separate thing. And I think that is what's more important about this setup. So we'll leave it as it is for now, and I'm glad that we were able to pull out some of the objects that don't belong in this group. Let's go back to solid mode so we can see them all separately. This is the cheesy sign, or maybe we should name it sign cheesy just so we can find it better. We got this light. What's this cube? Oh, light. We can merge all of these at some point, I think, or maybe not. It would be nice too for you to be able to rotate them your own way and make it look different in case you want to stack these up. So I'll just, I think I'll just keep everything as it is. What do drive-thrus have though? Drive-thrus have a window. So we can add a cube here, scale it way down on the z-axis, scale it way down on the x-axis. And there we go. If we go to the side view, even though we've got this bit in the way, it'll be good. I'm going to quickly thank Marco in the chat because I know he said he'd mute me, but leave the chat open. And I'll thank Andromeda too. Thanks for showing up. And Eckhart. Everyone's hanging out. Cool. What else we got? All right, so we got this face here. We can hit I to inset or totally screw it up. Let's see. What else can we do? Grid modeler, which is an add-on. Maybe we don't want to use it because, you know, you wouldn't be able to do this unless you had this add-on too. But it just makes modeling in a grid, as you would expect, a lot easier. So once I've made this selection, and I want to cut this face out, I can press 3, for example, to create a new face. And so now this is a whole new face there. And I can bring this out. And, you know, one of the benefits of working like this is that if you wanted to move the face around, what am I saying? Yeah, move the, one moment, I promise I can do this. If you wanted to move the window around, then you could, the drive-through window. One other thing that I think I'm missing that I'm not doing here yet is setting up some form of Boolean workflow for this window. But that might be something for another stream. I think for now I just want to lay out what it could look like. So we'll go into this mode here. Let's move this bin out of the way. Or not. Oh, there we go. And this one's floating. Okay. And select this face. Life's not working. There we go. I to inset. We'll make it way small. Bring it up. I think this is actually going to really screw us up when it comes to the normals though. So let's undo that. And we'll just do this properly. Okay, this looks okay to me. This is the window. I'm sure we could use another add-on like Arch Mesh or something like that to make this a little more convincing, but I'm happy with this. Let's jet that in there. Why not? Okay. I mean, we've come a long way, friends. Got a whole trash bin here. And this this electrical box. I want to see what this looks like. Let's hide this bin for a moment. It's like slightly inclined. There we go. And let's give things their names. Electrical box. And this cube. Wait, where's that trash bin that I just made disappear? Restaurant. Restaurant floor. Let's group these together. M to do that. New collection. Restaurant. Great. We'll throw this reference in the reference folder. And I think this was that bin. Yeah, so we'll call it just bin. And what's this? Ground. Sweet. So far so good. I mean, we didn't suss out the whole blinking situation. But now we've got more of a scene than we did before, and if we wanted to get funky with the lights now, which I might do as we bring this to a close, we could. Just have to think a little more deeply, a little deepler into where these light sources are all coming from. So presumably this restaurant would have some light up here, so maybe we can get rid of this one, right? What's this one doing for us? Not much at the moment. This is lighting that up. Cool. So maybe these signs here, if we duplicate them or add some lights extruding from them, maybe those are lit up with like some ugly yellow light, or maybe there's some ugly yellow light coming from a bulb that's here or something. I think that might be the move. So If we take this, extrude it, inset it a bit, extrude it inward, and then separate it into its own thing. Can go into the shading workspace, add new material, give it an ugly, oh, that's not, that's fine, I guess. Let's make this a bit darker. And then we'll give this its own thing. There we go. New. I think we already have a light material, don't we? Oh, and all these textured meshes materials come from the scans that I've brought in, but I think we can clean that up if we decide to bake them in. But that's for another day. Restaurant, light. We'll give it an ugly yellow color. Let's see what emission looks like for this. It's not bad. Maybe it's not an ugly yellow, but just like one of those off-whites. Those grim yellow off-whites. And we'll put our cursor here and add an area light. Extend it to the length of this light here, or just about. We'll scale it down. And we can rotate it out on the X just a teeny bit, just so it's not hitting that wall so intensely. We'll, with the light selected, we'll change the color. We'll make it, got some nasty off-white. Give it a bit more power, maybe 50 watts. And it's starting to look like something, that's for sure. Let's see. So I've been going for about an hour, and I'm getting, my voice is a little tired, but I don't feel like I'm fully done with this project, if I'm being honest. So let's just keep going until it's time. When will it be time? Who knows? Let's see what this is looking like in cycles, because that's always fun. And I think I accidentally deleted I think I may have accidentally deleted our, oh no, it's here, the bin. Let's add a sun lamp. And this doesn't actually do anything to it, but if we were to, let's see, which way will the moon cast the shadows? This way? Sure. And we'll set it to, oh, I wish this had like a moon irradiance. What's the irradiance of the moon? Let's Google that real quick. Irradiance of the moon. Residual irradiance of the moon is less than 1%. So let's do 0.2. And we want some moonlight color, so we'll shift it blue a little bit. That's too much. This is okay. And let's before we get fall too in love with it. Let's check it out in cycles. This is going to be my reminder to save and your reminder to drink some water, stretch if you haven't already. At Cart Troll, aka Ellie McQueen, is out here stretching in the living room, as one should. It's looking okay in cycles. I'm going to quickly check the stream on YouTube and elsewhere to see. Okay, yeah, you can see it too. Good night. Thanks, Andromeda. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so this is more or less what it's starting to look like in cycles. I haven't even done anything with the world yet. I'm going to save because I don't remember if I did. But if I wanted to, I could go into shading here and go into the world shading tab, select everything, bring it into focus by pressing period or on the number keypad, and start to introduce just a teeny bit, just a smidgen of fog, essentially, to this scene. And yeah, this is starting to look rather creepy. I love it though. We're like at a, we're gonna snap this to the cursor. So selection to cursor. There we go. Should have kept the offset. That's okay. And we'll check quickly on these sampling settings here to make sure that we're optimizing cycles for viewport performance, not render performance, which we can take care of later. So right now my world shader's got, or my world's got a bit of just a little bit of volume, and let's see, background color. Yeah, the world light doesn't have all that much strength here. Let's see what happens if we bump it up to 1 or 0.1, sorry. Yeah, not too big a difference there. Okay, we'll bring this up. I think for the subsequent modeling steps and placement and stuff, it makes sense to do this in Eevee, so we'll switch to solid viewport. I want this to be visible. Let's swap to Eevee. Cool. We'll put this like right about here. Maybe scale it up so it matches up with the rest of the stuff on the scene. See if it's gonna be this close though. I'm gonna want to take care of this lumpiness. We'll see. That bin's looking good. Bin's looking real good. And yeah, we can take care of the textures for this and for the rest of the scene in another another stream. I'm gonna quickly work on this light here. Instead, I should have probably tried to do this. Actually, yeah, let's do that. Let's do all of these together. Oh, did I already inset? Yep. So we'll do this side and this one together so that there's at least some cohesiveness. We'll focus by pressing pound, and then I to inset. We'll try to keep it at about the same. It's gonna do one continuous light. That's fine. P to what's going on? P to separate that selection into its own thing. Oh, I should have inset it actually. I mean extruded inwards. So E to extrude, push it in. P to separate it into its own thing. Object. And we'll apply the same material that we did to the light, which I believe was just called light, wasn't it? Restaurant light, yep. And somehow I accidentally applied that to the whole restaurant, so now it's a party, but I meant to apply just to that selection, so. Okay, inset P selection, now it's separated. Now we can apply this light material to just that part. Great. And if we want to, can take this light, Shift D to duplicate it, delete it immediately, Alt D to duplicate it, but this time maintaining some reference to each other. Bring this one back out here. Alt D again to duplicate, R to rotate, Z to rotate along the Z axis 90 degrees to rotate it perpendicularly, S to scale, X to scale it, Y to scale it on the Y axis, and to bring it down to about the level of this edge here, G and Y to move this along. Wow, I actually scaled it way too much because I couldn't see it, but that's fine. There we go, about this is good. I'm getting my axes mixed up here because I'm kind of like rotating perspective here, and we just want to be sure that the light retains its width if we can. So to some degree this is a pretty messy way of working because I don't know, just is, feels like there's a couple things that could be cleaned up, but I think the important thing for me, at least with this project, is that I keep it fun. Otherwise I just don't want to, like, what's the point? And so far I'm having fun, so I hope you're having fun watching too, if you're still watching. We want to hit Alt-R here to Alt-R to remove that rotation. And just bring this up, scale it down on the y-axis so it somewhat fits the actual light that exists here. We'll do the same rotation trick with this one if it needs it. I'll do a quick check. I think that's okay. But once we hit Alt-D to duplicate it and we bring it to this other side here, then we'll do the, actually we can rotate it along the y-axis 180 degrees? Nope. Along the Z 180? Yeah, there we go. And the only reason that I can do this with some degree of speed is because I've been playing with Blender for a little over a year or maybe more, but for some time. So definitely if you're new to Blender and you're watching this either live or later on, don't be, or you're watching other tutorials, like, just know that it takes some time, but you'll get there eventually. Because I definitely, I would watch tutorials and then get discouraged because like, how are these people doing this so quickly? But it's just practice. It's been looking good, Eckhart Troll says. Haha, yes, it is looking good. I'm gonna save here, go back to the world shader real quick and bring the strength of the world light down. That didn't really do much, just fine. Background color though, I just want the world to be, a little darker. Background color strength 1. That looks fine to me. Let's save again, just because I'm very paranoid about crashes, and we'll go to cycles. Not bad. Not bad. And there's so much more that we can do to this, and we will. But we'll do that on the next stream. So if you're watching this live, thanks for joining. I appreciate you. If you're watching this back at some point in the future from this recording, I appreciate you. If you haven't already, and you're interested in following up with the progress of this and other projects, subscribe, because that's just the way it works. I'm sure you know that if you've been on the internet for some time. And if you enjoyed this stream and you're currently still watching, dropping a like on either Twitch or YouTube, or Twitch and or YouTube, will help the algorithm know that this is something that you liked and that other people like you might like. So I would appreciate that too, at least if you'd consider it. Other than that, this has been fun for me. I'm going to work on the thumbnail and give you one toot to play us out. Toot. That's us.